Hello everyone, welcome to MED Media. Today I have a special guest who will be talking about humanitarian crisis in Tigray, documenting a story that doesn't sell. We are live online and we are also broadcasted on satellite under HBS, Horn Broadcasting Services, to the Horn of Africa. I'm pleased to be joined from Barcelona, Ximena Borosas. Ximena, welcome to MD Media.
Thank you very much for your time.
Great. When people read your Twitter uh, for the past months or so, um, they were able to see, including myself, a number of pictures, including this picture that I used for the thumbnail. And but before that, back in March, you were tweeting about a story that doesn't sell. This is a quote from media organizations that were talking to you when you were mentioning about going to Tigray and so on. But before that, I know you are a photojournalist, and it would be great if you can tell us more on what you do, for which media organizations, how long have you been in this uh, profession?
Yeah, well, just one thing. This photo is not mine. It's from my partner Edgar Gutierrez. He went to Tigray with me, and yeah, this is a reality in the medias. It's a pity because media outlets, the big ones, sometimes tend to highlight some conflicts and put in the shadows others. So through our work with my partner Edgar, we are trying to raise voices of these people who is suffering and people who don't have the opportunity to tell these stories through the big medias.
And so you are a photojournalist, and do you work for any organization, or you are just freelance or working for whenever there is a project?
No, I am freelancer. I used to sell my photos through an agency, Sopa Images. I do this. I still do this, but yes, I'm trying to focus my work in deeply documentary projects, not just breaking news.
Great. For our viewers, you can follow her at Ximena Borosas. You see it on the screen. A lot of pictures that capture the crisis that's in Tigray after the war. And you went to Tigray in May, right? Can you tell us how your trip came up? Because after contacting a number of media organizations, there was no interest, but you still decided to go.
Yeah, well, with my partner, before to our trip, we contact a lot of medias to sell this topic, but the answer was like no, because this is a war conflict zone and it's very dangerous. So big medias have a policy like not buying material provided from freelancers in war conflict zones. But we discussed with my partner Edgar and we decided to travel because for us it's very important this topic. Um, yeah, we are compromised in giving voices of people who is suffering, so we decided to travel. We arrived in Addis on 15 May, and this same day we traveled to Mekele.
Hmm. And you are not limited to Magala. You went to, I think, Abiadi and a number of places as well. Can you paint a picture where you went and so on.
Yeah, we visited a lot of cities. We spent 2 weeks in Tigray. Visit Mekelle, of course, Abiadi, Adigrat, Adwa, Aksum, Samre, a lot of cities, and the pain is huge in every part of Tigray. Yes, we was in shock because we didn't expect this, a lot of suffering, and it's very hard to see people dying in front of you because they don't have nothing, they don't have food, they don't have safe water, and it's hard because you want to help, but we are normal people and we don't have the tools to help every people. So it's yeah, it's very hard, the situation there.
And the time you went, it's interesting because you are mentioning a lot of this suffering is happening after the maybe almost 6 months after Pretoria Agreement,
Hmm.
after you know the aftermath of the siege and the closure of Tigray, where people are saying that now it's open, people can travel and so on. But you are seeing this crisis happening. So you also mentioned now this is not what you expected. So what did you have in mind when before you went there?
We knew about the humanitarian crisis because 2 years of totally blocked, and of course the bloodiest war. But I think I am shocked about the sexual violations because it's terrible. I mean, it's not just sexual abuse; it's how this sexual abuse have done because the soldiers introduce like nails, glasses, papers, a lot of objects inside the women's, and I didn't expect this. I know that sexual abuse is a war tool, but I am covering the Ukrainian war, and this happened also there, but not in these conditions.
And did you have a chance to talk to some of the victims?
Yeah,
And what were they sharing with you?
yeah. We spoke with a lot of women and also kids, and yeah, they share with us the stories. I want to highlight one of these stories is about a 10 years old kid, Eskedar Hailu. 1 year ago, three Eritrean soldiers was raped her mom, and the kid started to shouting, and these mans put knives in her stomach, and also they threw boiling water to silence the kid, and now she have a huge scar in her stomach, and this story is very painful because it's a kid.
And uh, in terms of this crisis, were you able to talk to humanitarian organizations working there? In what condition are they working? So the demand is there, the crisis is there. What about the supply? What were you able to observe?
Yeah, we spoke with a lot of organizations because we visit a lot of IDP centers and also refugee camps. And the fact is, the humanitarian aid supply was cut like 3 months ago, around 3 and 4 months ago. So these organizations that are working on field, like in the camps, and also with the people that lives in IDP centers, they don't have instruments or food or medicines to help these people. So it's very hard the situation because they want to help, but they couldn't because they don't have instruments to help.
Hmm. Hmm. And I gather you are also able to talk to some doctors in hospitals and health centers. And anything that you wanna highlight on that?
Yeah, we visited the Mekele Central Hospital and we spoke with Dr. Abraha. He is the chief of this hospital, and they also highlight this thing that they don't have they properly instruments to work, and the doctors work with a lot of pressure because the most part of the time they need to choose who will survive and who will die, and it's very hard, and this is only because they don't have enough instrument or supplies to work properly.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Now, part part of the issues that you covered is on IDP centers and so on. Um, were you able? How far were you from, let's say, Western Tigray, or were there any plan in your itinerary in terms of going to Western Tigray?
No, we couldn't go.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember even talking to anybody who visited that area since the war started on November 2020. So I was wondering if you did an attempt or if you had a plan to do that.
No, I talk in the IDPs with the refugees from Western Tigray, and they told me that they are not able to leave the IDPs or the refugee camps and to come back to their homes because their houses and their cities continue to be occupied by Eritreans. So it's complicated also. And when we was in Mekele, we hear about a demonstration, um, refugees demonstration, and these people claim to put the end of this occupation because they want to come back home and to continue with their lives, but they couldn't.
Hmm, hmm. So you were in Magala when that demonstration happened?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was able to talk to actually to the organizer at that time on phone, and they made the point that that was the first uh, peaceful demonstration that they caught, said under outside government arrangement and so on. So they were seeing this crisis not solving anytime soon. So they had to take it to the street in terms of demonstration. So I'm glad you were there. One thing that people ask, what officials are doing in Tigray, and do they even have any leverage? So where did you have any chance to talk to Tigray officials from the IRA, like the interim regional administration?
Yeah, we spoke with people from the government and we asked about the cut of these supplies and the fact about that USA, the organization from USA said that there is a possibility about this humanitarian aid will sell on the market, and the people from the government said that yeah, this was true.
So they confirmed that that happened. I know they established a committee. Actually, the committee that investigates released that, and they were attributing, I think, uh, some part to the Eritrean forces, some to Amhara, and some within the Tigray officials and so on.
Yeah.
We are waiting. We are waiting to arrange. an interview with the chair of that committee, Fissa Manjus, General Fissa Manjus. We'll hear from him. Anything that you learned during that time in terms of budget or anything that the government could do to alleviate any problem there?
No, I just spoke about why this supplies was scattered and the fact of if it's true or if it's false, the allegations about the this this situation, and they said yes, it's true, and they are investigating now with the goal to find a solution. But the truth is that in this period, when the investigations are in course, the people are suffering and they continue dying by hunger. So, yeah, this is a problem because I don't know when the investigations will end. So, it's a huge problem.
When you were going there and taking pictures, one of the things that um, you were doing is in terms of looking at the wounded young people who are in the war and so on. So, um, were you able to visit a center, or is it a random picture? So, for example, there were a number of pictures I saw on your Twitter account in terms of. Let me see if I can get that here. Um,
The people with the protheses,
exactly. So, can you speak to that? How, what you
yeah,
observed, what you saw?
yeah. In Mekele, we went to the Mekele Orthopedic Center. This center is public and they work with RADO. RADO is an Ethiopian NGO that works with victims of war. And yeah, this center works with these victims. The victims go to this center to treat the, the, the fact of losing legs or arms. So they stayed there, and this center prepares the prostheses, and then they teach these people to walk again and to do exercises.
So, these were in Magala or in different towns of Tigray as well?
This in particular is in Mekele, but Rado is a national NGO.
Um, when you talk to the doctors and to these women victims of sexual violence, gang rape, all that, and the wounded use, what were what were the saying? You know, in terms of supply needs, what the international community should do, and the Tigrayan diaspora. What were the message that they went to come across through your work?
Yeah, yeah, they said that the most important thing is psychology support because these women have a big trauma and they don't have doctors now like psychologists to treat these women. So it's important because it's not just physical evidence. You have yeah, a big trauma and this need to be treated. So this is the most important thing they told me.
Once you came back from Magala, Tigray, and Ethiopia, what happened then? Were there any interest from media? I saw one media from Argentina that had interviewed you. Except that, were there any interest in terms of the work you did in Tigray?
Yeah, yeah, surprisingly, and we are happy because we found a lot of interest. a lot of journalists from different media contact me through Twitter asking me, "Oh, how did you get to go inside Tigray? Could you help me?" Like things like that. And also here in Spain, our part of our reportage about Tigray was published in El País. El País is the most important newspaper here in Spain, so we are very happy, and we are now working in the dictation of our movie, and one media is interested in this movie, so we are cross fingers.
Mm.
So yes, this media buy the movie because they have a huge coverage, and we are trying to extend this topic.
Great. Is that a Spanish media?
No, it's German.
Okay, German. Okay, great.
Yeah.
One thing that I didn't ask you would be interesting to know is when and how did you learn about the Tigray crisis?
Well, I learned about the crisis on February because I was on board on Aitamari. Aitamari is a humanitarian vessel, Spanish humanitarian vessel from the NGO Salvamento Marítimo Humanitario. And this NGO works in the central Mediterranean rescuing people from Africa in the boats. So I was on board like a photojournalist there, and I spoke with the nurse. She have a lot of experience in international cooperation, and I said, "Oh, Marta, I want to go to Gaza frontline." And she said, "Oh, I think you need to go to Tigray." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Oh, because the war end very recently, so I think it's not covered properly, and you must to go." And then I spoke with my partner Edgar, and we decided to travel.
Hmm. Okay. So, but before that, before February, you were hearing about the war, or is that even it was not even under your radar?
Yeah, but not deeply.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And so, on the other side, I mean, out of the crisis and so on, maybe the raining season was not already on in Tigray, but were you able to go to the farmers and I'm assuming this is your first time to Ethiopia, maybe even to Tigray, right?
Yeah, yeah, true.
So what else did you see despite the crisis, all these incredible, incalculable sufferings?
Yeah, we visit farm zones, and we interview a family. It's in village called Tafa. I don't know the pronunciation, but it's near Adigrat. Yeah, I think it's near. Well, this family, yeah, works with animals and also with plants. And when the Eritrean soldiers came, um, they burned their house and they stole their animals. So this family with a small kid, 1 year old, leave the house, and they turn back now, but they don't have nothing, and they are trying to continue their lives.
Mm, mm. Interesting. One of the things that many people uh, felt during the war, especially during that blackout, information blackout, is uh, they were not able to hear uh, the whereabouts of their family members, beloved ones, and so on.
Yeah,
Even there are still to this day, with families closer to Europe under Eritrean occupation and Western Tigray as well, they are not able to hear where their families are.
Yeah.
And but there are people even if within Tigray as well, children who are lost and so on. So we're able to see anything that being done in terms of connecting families and the whereabouts and so on.
Yeah, we met 38 orphans in an IDP center in Aksum, and some kids know that their parents die because of the war, but other kids they don't know nothing about their parents because their parents are in Sudan, and now with the war in Sudan, they lose the contact, so they don't know if their parents are alive or not. So they are living in the IDP without information about their families. And I'm talking about like kids not more or less than 13 years old. 13 years old is the the older. So yeah, they are very small.
Yeah. And outside the media organizations, were there any interest from international community in terms of NGOs or UN organizations in the work you did in Tigray, including those maybe who are investigating the humanitarian crisis through the UN and so on?
Sorry?
Were there any interest in your work from the UN or other international organizations that are working outside the media sector?
Yeah, yeah. Two ladies, well, three, from different organizations contact me. One of them was the responsible of the investigation of war crimes from International Amnesty because she saw one of my tweets about 28 years old woman that was raped by five soldiers, and she lives in an IDP. So this lady contacted me through Twitter, and she asked me about more information to help this lady, and I am very happy because my contact in Mekele told me that this lady apparently is now receiving medical treatment. So I'm very happy about this. And also, one lady from the commissioner of war crimes from Tigray that live in USA contact me, and also another lady from Canada as well.
That's great, right? Given that, I mean, what inspired me in your work is you had all the reasons not to go because nobody was interested in what you were to bring and so on. But you decided this is worth it and we have to go with our resources and so on. But the good thing is when you come, so many interests, including the media that ignored your request and so on. So I'm so happy about that.
Thank you.
So if you were to speak to, I mean, I know you don't speak Tigrinya, but if
No.
you were to speak in English to, those victims that you are able to document and to the Tigray people, what would that be? I will come back to another with another question, the same question to Grand Diaspora, to the international community. But if you were to speak to the victims that you saw, what would that be?
About like what I will
Yeah,
say,
yeah. What you will say?
I will say that they are not alone. I am compromised to spread their voices, and I'm journalist. I am not a billionaire to give their money, but yeah, I think that our work with my partner Edgar was great in Ethiopia, in Tigray. We have a great material, so we are compromised to expand everywhere this material.
Great. And if you were to say something to the international community, to those who can decide on what should be done in terms of aid, in terms of investigation, in terms of accountability, what would you say?
Just one thing. Why there are two categories in conflict, like first category and second category, and also from refugees, because UN say that all of people are equal and all deserve the same opportunities, but in fact this is not true. So yeah, they need to do their job.
Great. Finally, I would ask you to say something to media because I think the great work you did, I know it would have a meaning, already giving some meaning to a victim, right? And it would be meaningful and impactful. So, what would you tell your media colleagues from around the world?
mm, I don't know, just to be more equal when we are communicating humanitarian crisis, because it's not fair to give all the lights to one mediatic war conflict and to put in the shadow the others, because all the people are important and all the people are suffering in all the wars. And yeah, it's not about the color. It's not like if you are black you are not important. For me all the people are important: black, white, pink, yellow, I don't know, I don't care. So we need, as a journalist, focus on humans and to leave the colors.
Great. I think nobody can say that better than you did, Simena Borasas. Thank you so much for your time. So many people sending their message of thank you, one including in Spanish, I guess, here. Uh, I think it says thank you. But I really appreciate your time and our viewers who are following us online now and on the HBS on satellite in Tigray and beyond in the Horn of Africa. Please follow her Twitter. Uh, Simena Borasas is her Twitter. You see it on the screen. I really appreciate your time and I hope you'll have another opportunity to document the uh, the survivors as they thrive through against all odds, hopefully with some aid from the international community and some relief within Tigray and within Ethiopia. Thank you so much for your time.
Yakanele.
ክብረት ያበለይ ደህና hədəri.
Bye bye.
Bye. You have been following us live with photojournalist Ximena Borasas from Barcelona. I must say, one of my favorite cities in the world. And it was a topic, humanitarian crisis in Tigray, documenting a story that doesn't sell. In March, when she started communicating about this, many media organizations told her that they are not interested because that would be a story that wouldn't sell. But despite that, in May, she decided with her colleague, with her partner, to go to Tigray. And after 2 weeks, they did a lot of documentation, and it's getting interest from media and from other organizations. So I encourage you to follow her on this account. Simena Borasas is her account. Your host was Gita Chatafa. I will be back with another show tomorrow in Tigrinya with Yosef Haile Selassie from Baitona. On Thursday with author Dr. Isaias Yirgao on his recent book, The Tigrayan Electrician, Memories of My Father and His Beloved Motherland. That is a book that came out recently. You can find it on Amazon. I'll be speaking with him. You can see it on the screen behind me. I will be speaking with him in both Tigrinya and English on Saturday. Sunday is a time for our H panel, the weekly H panel. So share, subscribe, like, so that many can access our material. Have a good day or good night wherever you are.